Okay, and let's start. For me, it was always the question, for example, like what is the incubation program? Why startup such a smart, proactive, and intelligent persons? Why they cannot do it without incubation program?
Actually, I would say they can. I do not hesitate to say that. Of course, everyone can do it on your own also, but it's the matter of speed, I would say, and the matter of contacts and how far you would like to expand and how quickly. Because starting your startup is all about putting your team together, actually developing, testing, validating really quickly. You need a lot of help in the journey, and probably you also need money to develop all the things and grow your business as fast as you would like to do. And in that sense, it's reasonable to have someone besides you. And we have worked already with approximately 300 different startups during these years and having a success rate over 60%. So I would say that this is quite a proven method that we are using. So we do have a lot of mentors, wide mentor pool, approximately 70 different field mentors. We have close connections with investors. So yeah, the most important thing I would say is the speed or how quickly you want to move on.
Mm-hmm. And because Kadri is also one of our mentors in Prototron, and she assessed the ideas. So could you please bring out this? So there is a speed with contact with somebody who is holding you and some kind of like triggering you to work. But for example, you don't like in incubation, are there any kind of extra money, extra funds, what teams are getting?
If on Prototron's case, you are also competing for this 35Ks of grant money that in the incubation phase, actually, no, we do not have like specific grants yet. We do not invest our own, but we are moving towards that to actually build our own investment fund next to the incubation program. But we do invest like sweat equity in the startups, and this is worth approximately 10,000 euros. So if I already mentioned previously that we are actually working closely together with different mentors, they are top businessmen, top marketeers, the best law firms here in Estonia. So this is, I would say, more valuable than gold for startups, because these guys have been gone through a lot. They have built up a lot of businesses. They know what it takes to succeed. They know what kind of mistakes probably will come in that road and how to avoid them. So yes, in a sense, if you're asking, are we also giving grants, then the simple answer is no, but still you will get a service in a value of approximately 10,000 euros.
Mm-hmm. So can you bring out the differences, or maybe you can explain how, for example, Prototron and incubation program can work together, or can it be separate, or how to understand, do you need Prototron or do you need incubation?
I would say you need both. You definitely, Prototron, Jana, you do an amazing job gathering all these ideas, all these teams together. Whoop whoop to you. A really, really amazing job. And what we see is that, of course, you also provide this kind of like boot camps nowadays, like webinar forms perhaps, but you definitely fill in the very, very necessary part in the whole ecosystem and covering the prototyping part, which is which is super important, because this is actually one thing what is kind of mandatory when you want to apply to the incubation program, for example, or you want to go to some acceleration program. So you kind of have to have a basic knowledge what it is, what you want to build, and it's super cool if you already have this prototype ready. Yes, prototype, it doesn't have to be a finished and polished service or product, but the prototype. So in my mind, they are like combined together. So after the Prototron has ended, after you guys have gone through the valuable program that Prototron is providing you, then probably, and if you have succeeded, this is the best part, and you have got grant money actually with what you can build this prototype that you are dreaming about, then the incubation part is kind of like a logical next step, I would say, because a lot of times if teams are ending with like one program, it kind of feels empty inside, because I don't know how many of you do this like full time right away, but some of the teams definitely are like doing different things, which means that probably some of you have still like day jobs, and you are hustling how to actually build up your startup. So if you have like succeeded in Prototron, but it at some point it finishes, so then like logical next step would be to apply to an incubation program or to some acceleration program, so to get like a full support afterwards also.
And maybe this is the most integral part, that I like the comment from Nicholas that very often startups, but it's I suppose according to everyone, that we don't know what we don't know, and very often very yes, the unknown unknowns, yes, exactly. So very often very early team leaders are coming to me and said, we don't need anything, we don't need any kind of program, we just need money, and we will and we need 1 million. So it's some I don't know, it's some kind of miracle number that everyone wants just 1 million, and they like make it happen. So let's pretend that there is some kind of like a person, a startupper. So what kind of check questions maybe they should ask themselves before they decide, do they go to Prototron, or do they go to incubator, or do they go to accelerator? And maybe with this we can like certainly identify the beneficence from each of the steps.
I would say that if someone comes and says that I don't need this crap you are offering regarding to mentoring and the workshop part and etc., I only need a meal, I would say that probably you might be right. So you don't need us. So for these guys, probably the validation part is whether can you raise 1 million on your own or not. So investors are super harsh. They don't like pep talk you. And if you want to raise money from them, then you have to prove that you are ready to do that. And one thing that what is super important when we decide should we take a startup in the program or not, is actually the factor, is this team coachable or not? So if the attitude is that I'm like expert in every field, I don't need anyone to tell me what to do, I don't actually like to be pushed, I don't like to follow the KPIs or milestones and etc. So probably for these people, incubation, acceleration programs, also programs like Prototron, this is not the perfect fit. But for those guys who, for example, you said that Nicholas said that we don't know what we don't know. Yes, am I correct? Okay.
Yes.
So for these type of guys, actually, in a way of a startup, if you are at the very, very early stage, I feel that more like founders feel that I know it all on my own also. And if they are moving towards in that road, actually they will see that there are a lot of things that could be done so much more quickly, much easily. So you will get this kind of knowing that probably I don't know a lot of things, and it would be super cool that I can bounce my ideas with someone who does know that field very, very thoroughly. It would be cool to actually get a feedback from different sides. So this kind of help, I would say, is yeah, really valuable. But the most important thing is whether the team is coachable or not. And the other things also, of course, you have to have a team to apply to the incubation, because we do not accept solo founders, for example. So this is actually one important thing also. Are you capable as a team leader or a idea owner to actually build up a small team? Usually the teams are in a size of 3 people, covering the main competences. So some of you has to know what to do, how to put the team together, actually has to have ability to read numbers, so how to put together finance plans. Some team members, probably because we are a tech incubator, so we incubate technology startups. It means that some of the team members have to have a capability of actually building these products, whether they are software or hardware products. And Estonians are actually quite bad in that third field, which is marketing and sales, because and if you look at the statistics worldwide, usually startup founders, a lot of them have background in sales or marketing. Estonian founders, the majority of them, and probably Latvia is kind of the same, is we have a strong background in engineering or in IT, and the sales and marketing part is not so good.
And really, I love that you have brought out these Estonians, okay, the Baltics and engineers, because it's always when we have done the offline events, then it's always so complicated to trigger the participants to ask the questions and to comment. Then now I think the Zoom, I love it also. You just raise your hand, you just put some emotion, and you can write something in the chat. And I mean, it's just a digital paradise for the introverts and for the engineers. So, I just wanted to add that in Prototron, it's so funny that sometimes we have the teams who are coming from incubation program, for example, to Prototron, and very often they make some pivot, or they just adjust the idea. But sometimes we even have the teams who are coming from acceleration program, because some of the accelerators are really focused on selling and marketing, but then the team has ended up they don't have anything to sell. So how can you define, or how you see this process about the selling and the prototyping? Because sometimes it's so some mentors are saying it's already late to sell something when you have the ready prototype. But especially engineers are really aware about, no. First of all, we make it very fancy prototype and product, and then we make the landing page, and then we go somewhere. So how you see this perfect or at least some standardized pipeline?
Actually, I don't see it as like a pipeline. So for me, it's not a line, it's more like a circle. So, and probably you will do the circles like so many times, not like only once. It means that actually both are kind of right. I do understand engineers saying that how can I sell my product or my service if it's not ready even? What possible customers will buy then, and what they will think of me, and they will see that this is really a crappy product, and actually I don't want it, want to buy it once more if this is like an ongoing thing. Yes, I do understand them, but on the other hand, definitely I would say that not like the selling part is like mandatory very, very early on, but the validating part definitely is. So, and I can say I'm an Estonian myself. I can say that Estonians, we are shy people. So actually we don't like to connect with the people we don't know. So it's kind of hard for most Estonians to actually go and validate your product or service with the people you don't know, with actual potential customers. Very, very oftenly what we see is that when we give this validation task to fulfill is that, and they come back and they say that, yeah, I have tested it. And when we go really deep, then we will see that they have actually tested it among their friends or family or their like friends. And yes, I have to admit that this is like a simple logic. They will probably lie to you because they love you. And this is logical that they will say that, yes, of course, this is a wonderful product. And if you proceed with your idea, definitely millions will buy it. And usually it's not the case. So you have to definitely step out of your comfort zone and go and validate with actual potential customers and be really eager to get that feedback and actually be able to learn from it, not to take it as a criticism, because I haven't seen products that are like super and perfect very early on. Usually they need a lot of amendments, a lot of work to be done. So this is also a part whether the team is coachable or not. So it goes also working with mentors, but also getting the valuable feedback for potential customers. And if you are not coachable, probably you will not be able to learn from the feedback from your potential clients. And of course, if we are moving on that road, investors, they want to see traction. Traction actually means it would be good if you have done already some really, really basic sales. But if I come back to, for example, the marketing part, I usually say that, because I have a background in marketing and communication, I usually say that there's now no like faster way to kill a good company to actually heavily market the bad product. So what I mean is that I do say that you have to go and validate and learn and then mature your prototype even further, and you will do this like learning curve all over again. But don't invest heavily in marketing unless the product is more or less okay already.
So thank you. I really appreciate that you have brought it out, that really there is sometimes, and I've seen this, that the teams are so over marketing themselves, and then they end up with not working technology, or they just end up that, for example, some kind of technology breakthrough is coming up and their technology is not necessary anymore. But so it was the angle from we wanted to convince the teams that they need the incubator. But how do you think how team can choose the incubation program, how they should validate the, like, do they go to Prototron? Like, what is it good? Because there are like similar programs and maybe with greater funds, or how do they choose the incubation? What they should check and how they can validate it?
There are like so many things you can do. Of course, you can check the history of the program. So from our side, we also like I pointed out the success rate, which is kind of important for us because it shows that we are like 6 times above the average rate if you're speaking about succeeding or failing part. Yeah, definitely you should check is the program suitable for you, the time frame in a sense of time frame, or in a sense of the actual program, what kind of mentors does the program, for example, uses. And there are so many different things besides that also, because what we see is that usually startups go like through different programs before they get to the big money. For example, the majority of the startups that we are working with are pre-seed startups, which means that they haven't onboarded their first investment yet, and we have like shaped our program to be suitable in that phase, which means that we are doing everything to make a startup investment ready. So we are shaping them, and at the end of the program we have like different options. One option is also a demo day. We also like handpick investors to match with startups, so we have quite close connections of course in Estonia, but also with Nordic angels, also VC funds from abroad. So different possibilities there. And what we also see is that usually when the startups are flying out from our nest or our program also, then the next logical step for a lot of them is actually to take part in a niche acceleration program. What I mean is that we are covering the quite like broad field. So we are doing all the prep work to be investment ready, and usually they do onboard their first investments at the later stage of our program. And if they have done already so, then the majority of them are capable actually investing their whole time in that startup, because some of them definitely, if they're joining the program, are still working partially. For example, they do have partial daytime jobs, or some of them even have like full daytime jobs at the first months. But usually on that road they will ditch their day jobs, and if that investment allows them to fully invest their time in a startup, they will afterwards go to the like very, very specific, very niche acceleration program designed for that target market that they are targeting, or that target segment or vertical.
Can you bring out the real success stories of Tehnopol, so we can, like in my mind, it's really very important to check who are the mentors, what kind of teams are there, because it means that it's the community where you are going, and also who were investors into the teams who are in the incubation program. So you can just check, make some kind of overview where, like, in what kind of community is the incubation itself, and is it like the most useful and like the most beneficial for you to go there. But just to make more fame for Tehnopol,
Yeah.
what are the main or like success stories?
I have to make a disclaimer that we haven't found our own unicorn yet, but probably more than one startup is heading towards that. So we have a lot of really, really interesting startups in portfolio right now, and also in our alumni portfolio. But I would say probably Toggle the time tracking tool is definitely one of the success stories. The Fendec widely used also for border guarding. PyKeep is doing amazing journey together with also now with different companies actually trying to find new ways how to not only develop this kind of smart parking systems for bicycles, but also go broader from there to explore the field of electrical scooters and etc etc. And but yeah, a lot of cool things happening in the health tech field, which is one of our strongest side. And there the like success stories are not like publicly shown, but they are doing amazing things. So they are developing the products and services which can actually save lives and make living on this planet so much better. So amazing stuff. For example, my like personal favorite from a few years back was a company called Transformative, that they are like developing this kind of smart algorithm that's supposed to be a part of our smart wearables in the future, and they can prognose or detect prognose the heart failure, and in the future they are hoping that they can say half an hour in advance that something bad is going to happen with your heart. So probably a lot of unnecessary deaths avoided with that solution. So a lot of these kind of things happening, and really proud of them.
And I'm again really happy, and just try to get this Prototron connection that transformative AI is also alumni of Prototron, and one of my personal favorites in health tech is I forgot. It's the game for the sick.
You mean the
Chronically
Triumph
sick.
Health?
How say again?
Triumph Health?
Yes, Triumph Health. Yes, they're so amazing.
Yeah.
And I love the idea because we have a lot of engineers, and I already learned today that couple of startup ideas which we have now, and I already had an honor to talk today that they are based on master's thesis or doctor thesis, and Triumph Health is really like it's my favorite case, because first of all, like they have had some kind of scientific approach, or like a little bit, but then they have made a startup, and then the startup started to make an extra work for the university. So like it's not like it's in an opposite way. So it's very cool. And Bykeep, and it's also our team. So yes, so guys, you are in a good bench. I wanted to ask also, so we have talked about like to check the incubator, then to go there, then to be hold and be in a good hands, and la la la. And you still, we have this percentage of those who will fail. So can you bring out the main, I don't know, maybe 5 or even more points, how to fail in incubator?
First of all, I will come back to the commitment part, that this is totally understandable that if you are struggling, and if you are trying to actually make a living and buy food and pay bills, you at the very early stages have to have a day job also. But at some point you have to decide, and this is the part where I usually ask what it is exactly that you want to do. Because for some people, start upping is like a hype. So it's like kind of cool to go to the hackathons, and I try to build something, and let's see whether it flies or not. And this is like a hobby or something. But you won't get an investment if this is only a hobby. So at some point you have to decide, and if you are not willing to actually fully commit to the project, to the idea, to your team, to your company, then this probably can be a fast track to fail. The other thing definitely is that we ourselves, we have also onboarded teams that that we see after the onboarding, unfortunately only after that, they are not actually coachable, that and a lot of them are not successful during the incubation program also, because if you have the attitude that I'm the king of the world, I know everything the best, I'm the expert in every field, and we do have this kind of people among us. So this is not a joke, we do have them. Then I have seen a lot of companies failing because of that, because we can actually, we could help them, but they don't want it. Another thing is if you're evaluating your runway wrong, it means that how much money do you have, for how many months, and if you're doing your calculations wrong, you can run out of the money. Simple as that. And you will not be able to proceed with the company just because otherwise you won't be able to pay your bills and feed your family, and you have to quit the company just because of that. And this is the most trickiest part, I would say, because this is the like peak when the startups would like to get an investment. And I would say that this is the worst time ever to actually onboard one, which means that you will get the worst deal ever if you are onboarding money in that phase where the investors can already see that you are needy. You actually need the money like so badly, because otherwise you will die, your company will die. And this is like a golden rule that you have to onboard an investment when the time is right, and the time is right then when you actually don't need it. So like finding and onboarding investors and investments is quite time consuming, and usually startups actually move from one investment round to another, and in between, for example, if there's like a year in between two rounds, usually pretty much just after they have closed one, they are kind of like already building up the next one. So it takes time and you can't be needy. So this also happens a lot of times. And in so many cases, you have put together a wrong team. Which means that if you are a first-time startupper, it's quite a common thing that you would start your startup with your friends or with your like close relatives and etc. So the people you know the best. And this is, yeah, in one hand, it's kind of good thing that you actually know these people, and it seems that some of the things are easier this way. But the thing is that probably your friends are quite similar with yourself. So it tends to be that, for example, like a really simple example is that introverts are usually friends with introverts, extroverts are usually friends with extroverts, and if you have a bunch of introverts, for example, like engineers, you don't have anyone for who is capable of actually performing, pitching, going and selling your amazing products, then you will die also. Because you have an amazing product and no one can from your team can actually sell it, and you don't have money to actually pay for someone to come and join the team and be a salesperson. And a lot of times, yeah, people who think that they are friends, it's also a common saying that think 10 times before you do a company with your friends, because this can be a fast track of not having friends anymore.
And
Because
company also. So
and company, yeah,
you will lose both of them.
yeah, because there will be arguments and everything is like crystal clear and super cool until that part that everyone has to push really hard. You have to work really hard. It's not easy at all. It's super hard. And when the money comes in play, this is whole another scenario, because among friends it's not so easy to make hard decisions, who gets paid and how much, and etc.
And it's a very nice point what you are coming up for. Just some of comments. We have in Prototron, we have a little bit higher the like survival rate. It's around 90%, but it's just because of the funnel of the competition is so tight that of course we really like trying to get the best ones. And from those who has been like not very like after the Prototron, not very successful. So all these 6 teams are basically just like finished all the activities just because of a conflict from the teammates. And only 2 teams who ended with not really working technology, what they were trying to do. So yes, team is very important. And here I like maybe Kadri, you will share some insights about how to decide who will and when will get money, because it's so fancy to be a founder of startup and to get the Lamborghini, such a nice weather. So when you think it's the right time to start to get salary?
Yeah, this is a tricky question, and actually I won't point out the like exact time that yes, after like 3 months or after your first investment and etc. It strongly depends. Usually it happens after the first investment, because startups have bootstrapped for so long time. For some of them, it has been like a year or more to actually onboard one, and then the bootstrapping, the strength, there's like no more strength to bootstrap. And this is something that actually you have to discuss also with your investors, because you have to deliver what you promise. It means that when you are onboarding an investment and giving your equity or shares for the investors, and you promise to do something with that money. For example, if you are saying that I would like to get 100Ks, and with that money I will enter a new market or do something with it. So you have to actually deliver. This is the worst scenario, that you are putting the money in a place which is not agreed upon. And of course, investors, they seem harsh, and they are harsh, but they are not unreasonable, which means that they don't want to have starving founders. They actually want to have healthy and good shape founders, which means that probably it will be like this, that you won't be able to buy a Lamborghini, you won't be able to pay like salaries 10K per month per founder. You won't be able to do that in very, very early days if you're like onboarding your first round or your second round. But what it means that you can pay some salaries for the most important people, and it depends strongly on you whether the founding members are the ones or not, which means that the founding members are actually building up a company because I hope they believe in it, and they see a bright future ahead of them if they do succeed. And this is the like main trigger for them, why they keep pushing and why they keep doing these long hours, not because of the fact that they will get like 10Ks each month, but yeah, it's up to you whether, if you, for example, have 3 founding members in your team, none of them can do sales and marketing, for example, or are good at finances, and you have to actually buy these competences from the market, and it's up to you. Do you have enough money to pay to founders and to employ people, or you can do only the second? So no golden rule here, but yeah, the basic usually the paying part or the salaries part come after the first investment.
Thank you. So yes, it's also very common that it's like a very famous book, The Leaders Eat Dinner Last, like something like this. So yes, very often the founders are the last ones who will buy their Lamborghini, but you're absolutely correct that in the team you should find this good balance, not to burn out and keep your physical and mental health, because without you founders, there will not be the startup anyhow. So I think that we are a little bit already like should rush. So I really would like if you guys ask questions or maybe provide some comments. So because with Kadri we could talk a lot because we work in one office, but I would like you to get some valuable information from Kadri.
Yeah, if you have any questions, shoot. And it would
you
be
can
super
raise your hand.
You can raise your hand or turn on your video and your mic and just ask, or write to the chat, whatever is suitable for you.
And again, about the teams, I just wondering, we have now we just have given the money for 2 teams. They are like in each team is 10 engineers. It's like, I already said them, are you okay? Have made like shareholders agreements for 10 person. I really can't understand how they will manage, how they will share these millions, whatever, but 10 engineers. Because they have been, both of them has been making robotics. So there are a lot of, some small pieces each engineer has been working for, and they just put everybody. So do we have a question? Yes. So Romance is asking, what kind of startups do you take to the incubator? Only tech?
Yes, basically, yes. Tech startups, but in different fields. That we are mainly focusing on health tech, as already mentioned, also on green tech, B2B ICT, so quite a wide range under that umbrella. Also space tech, doing partnerships with the European Space Agency. And the last part, which is the newest also for us, is GovTech, or like cooperation with governments.
GovTech, GovTech, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I would say that nowadays you kind of can't even be a startup if there's no tech component in it, because being a startup, one part is that you are developing, or like you are working on risky grounds. This is the one part. And the other part, what makes you a startup, is the scalability. And the majority of startups, I would say that without the tech component, the scalability part is quite hard to get. So I would say that most of the startups still are tech related.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, because the IT is everywhere. You can like.
For example, I had an interview just last week, and a journalist asked me, okay, you are also entering in Narva, so in the eastern part of Estonia. So what kind of companies are accepted, or if I run a cafeteria, will I be accepted? So, and the answer is that it actually depends. If you do run like old school cafeteria, so the ones that are actual cafeterias before the home offices and quarantine life, then probably we are not the best fit for you, because we have different kind of mentors, different kind of setups. But even nowadays, even cafeterias, they have to change. So what a rapid change in that sector there has been also. So a lot of cafeterias are partially now tech companies also. So yeah, the line is very thin between them.
Yes. So Celia is asking, is working prototype necessary to get in incubator? Or if it is not ready yet, is it still possible to get into incubator?
No, you don't have to have a working prototype. You have to have a clear understanding how to make one. It's of course it gives you like extra points if you already have a prototype, or like a very, very basic one at least. It doesn't have to be perfect yet, but you can actually build it during the incubation phase also. But what then you have to do is prove that you have validated the potential customers beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
You have to show that there's like real interest from the market side, that this product or service that you are building is actually usable and necessary for the target group. And this can be done really, really easily. So a lot of tech companies actually start off with pairing customers and providers through Facebook, or doing their like landing pages, gaining signups, etc., etc. So a lot of different possibilities to show that there is an interest from the market side. Because the one thing that I will point out is that the incubation, the getting in or not getting in part is not decided by the like program owners or by ourselves only, but we use the expert system, which means that we do have like evaluation panels where we have our team and also our key mentors who are top businessmen and angel investors in one person. So they will also give like good insights, and they will definitely look with investor eyes.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the question because we have just skipped this information. We have talked about the money. And as I always say that the best money what you can guys take is or get is the money from your clients because it's free money and it's really yours. Okay, Prototron is also equity free, but you need to, struggle and be on the webinars and I don't know, make something for Yana. But then very often there comes equity. So do incubation take equity or is it for money or how you operate?
Yes, we don't have a monthly fee for the services, but we take 2% of equity option, which means that we have an option or a possibility to take equity. So, and we have to decide whether to proceed with it or not in 1 year's period.
And is it common? And what is it? What can you already give some information about? Like, what is the common practice in incubators and in acceleration programs?
Yeah, so we are actually we have bookmarked or benchmarked our program also against different programs, and the terms are really reasonable because a lot of startups, because I also mentioned that when they join the incubation program, they are pre-money, pre-seed startups, so they don't have like a lot of money in their bank accounts. So to be able to provide services also in that phase, it means that the price can't be too high, and this is the reason why we have chosen also to operate like this. So there's like no monthly fee, but only like a small share.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like the average. And what is for accelerators?
For accelerators, it depends, but usually the percentage that accelerators take is around 8%. It can be higher. It depends strongly whether they are also investing in startups in a smaller scale or in a bigger scale. The bigger the money numbers go, the bigger also the share part goes. So and this has been validated, the percentage that this is actually comparable with other programs also. So definitely don't take too much.
We are okay. We are as always. We are running out of time, and there's coming up with the questions. So I really like this question about. Please describe the process of entering the startup incubator from filling out the form until the point when the team is already working with the mentors, as I understood.
Okay, it's really simple to enter. To actually apply for the incubation program, you have to go to startupincubator.ee webpage. Really simple form there, like really quick 3-4 questions to fulfill, and you can save and send your application already. Then you will receive a feedback in few days. Whether if we are seeing that you are a solo founder, probably this is the point that you will get suggestions to find new team members and not be accepted this time. But if we see potential, then my teammate will contact you. You will do like a quick Skype call with her, like 15-20 minutes max. And if like all the boxes are checked, that you have to have a team, you have a scalable technology related idea, and you have a prototype or a really clear understanding how to make one, then you will be accepted for the valuation panel. And this is the part where what I already described. In the evaluation panel, we usually have 6 up to 10 people, and the majority of them are top businessmen and investors themselves. Also, our key mentors who will be leading the startups after the startups have been accepted. For the spring round, we just opened a new patch yesterday, actually, and now you are able to apply for the next one. Probably we will start the next one late August, so you have enough time to do all the prep work, and you can actually apply already now, and we can start off with providing you with some mentor hours, and we will kick off the workshop part in autumn time then.
And if I remember correctly, in Narva, you will be accepting teams like continuously, not like the batch.
Yes, in Narva we will accept team continuously, but what we see there is definitely that we have to also invest in like building up the community also together with you, my dear Jana. So this is like a common thing that we will be doing for upcoming months also. And what we see that the like workshops part probably will start off in September also, but definitely we can start already working with mentors before that.
Okay, unfortunately we are out of time. Thank you very much, Kadri. Thank you all the guys. I really hope that you will still be with Prototron until you are extremely ready to go to incubator. And yes, I have this second role in my life, that I'm the founder of the Narva Object, which is the co-working space and hub for the startups and creative entrepreneurs. So sorry if I make some kind of advertisement. So thank you very much. And if I'm not mistaken, Kadri is also in our Slack.
Yes, of course.
So the channel Ask About the Incubator is for Kadri. And so yeah,
thank you for my side also for having me. Thank you for all the interesting questions. It has been a real joy to spend this hour with you. And unfortunately, we didn't fulfill our promise to end a bit earlier. But thank you for being patient and bearing with us. And probably and hopefully we will see in the future also when you apply to Startup Incubators program.